Hey guys, DC Multiverse dude here. Pretty excited. I have just received my DC Multiverse, The Flash Batmobile, based on the 1989 Tim Burton design. I've really been looking forward to this one. I know some of the common complaints that I've seen. I'm looking forward to seeing how those manifest when I get it out of the box. I got this delivered to me lightning fast by my good friends at Fett's Hideout Toys and Collectibles for a really great price and really quick shipping. So I'll put a link in the description below for the store. You can see here, it's from the Flash movie, the graphic of the Batmobile. Now, interestingly, it's fairly vague on this opening image about what color the canopy is. It's sort of got this metallic sheen running through it, so you can't tell if it's meant to be gray or black. Pretty interesting. If we spin this beast of a box around, you can see Batmobile from the Flash. And then we have the image on the back. You can see the Michael Keaton Batman sitting in the cockpit. There's the Batmobile. Again, you know, low lighting conditions. Doesn't really indicate that the canopy is a different color, but we'll get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. You can see it tells us that this is 60 centimeters long or 22 inches. It's a big boy. Yeah, so look, I am quite excited about the Flash movie, skeptical but excited. I'm a huge 1989 Tim Burton Batman fan, and Batman Returns, of course, 1992. So I really want this to be good. I don't want it to disappoint me. I think I better just get it out of the box and see what happens. All right, so the Batmobile is out of its box, and this is what you get in the box. I mean, it's all sealed in plastic, but this is the extent of the assembly required. You get the main vehicle and you get the two fins. There's a left fin and a right fin. I'm going to install those now. Okay, so the fins are installed, and I've got to say that was not a pleasant process. The fins are hollow and there's very thin strips of plastic that click into the back of the Batmobile, and you actually have to put quite a lot of pressure to install them, and it feels like you're going to snap something or break something. So I was trying to be careful, but it was quite terrifying, frankly. But we got there in the end. So, first impressions. This thing is big. I knew from the measurements on the box that it would be big, but getting it in hand and really just seeing how much space this takes up, you know, it's something else. I think my other big first takeaway was that this canopy here, which, you know, it's been talked about to death, the canopy is not the same color as the rest of the Batmobile. It is a gray color. Much has been discussed about this. There's been a lot of consternation, a lot of disappointment, and rightly so. In person, I've got to say, in this lighting, I mean, on camera, it actually looks more pronounced than in real life, but it's not that bad. It's only a subtle shade lighter, and it's really not horrendous. So that's pretty good news. Having said that, I don't think it's good enough. And I'm really curious, you know, why this has happened. Theories have been that this is a clear piece of plastic for the canopy here. And when the paint went on that clear plastic, it hasn't come out as the right sort of color. Whether it's a deliberate design decision to cut costs, or whether it was sort of like an unforeseen error or factory discrepancy or whatever, the fact that it's made it through to the final product, I think it's a mistake. I think they should have done something different. I think the canopy, you know, I would have rather this all be black plastic, you know, and not be translucent. If that meant that they could have painted the rest of it, or cast it in plastic like the rest of it in a solid black. I think that would have been the smarter move. I just think the concession here is too much. Having said that, like I said, it looks way better in person than it does on camera. In camera, you're probably seeing a really pronounced difference. In reality, when the light's sort of hitting it, you don't notice it as much. So that's really interesting and a pleasant surprise, because that was my main, you know, that was my main thing I was dreading about this, is this horrible canopy that I would have to repaint, and it would just make it look like an eyesore. It doesn't look that bad. I can tell you in person, not that bad. Having said that, if you have the skill, you should probably repaint it. And I may still do that. If anyone knows a really good tutorial for customizing and repainting step by step with the tools you need and the equipment you need and the paint you need, let me know. I'm a total novice, but I'd be more than willing to give it a go. What else? What I really like, this sort of central torpedo missile part of the front of the design is cast in a gunmetal grey, which is really, really nice. You know, the lights here should have been a translucent plastic. I think this just looks really toy and cheap. And I know this is only a relatively cheap consumer grade toy. It's not a collectible, but a little bit of translucent plastic wouldn't have killed them, I don't think. This has been painted nicely in silver. You know, I think you go to the back and again, it all looks pretty good. Should have been translucent plastic. It just should have been. It just would have given it a much more premium feel. And more broadly, oh, there's my dog. Excuse my dog. All right, I'm back. My dog has been silenced. For some reason, he thought he would just shout while I'm trying to record a video. Bad dog. Anyway, the comment I was going to make is I really think this should have been cast in a matte plastic with a matte finish. The Batcycle, the Ben Affleck Batcycle, has been cast in a matte plastic. The Batwing is cast in a matte finish plastic. You know, all the other vehicles actually that have come out in the DC Multiverse line from memory, none of them have been in this sort of high gloss plastic. I think this was a deliberate choice. I think they thought that this would sort of look the sleekest and the coolest. I don't know if it's meant to sort of be a cost decision, but what it unfortunately means is this does look a little bit cheap. This makes it look like a flimsy sort of toy you'd get at, you know, a department store for like $5. And it's just not that. You know, it actually is better made than that. But this glossy plastic really betrays it. And again, I've seen excellent customs where people have applied sort of a matte finish and it looks so much better. And again, just a weird design choice. You know, the way the light plays off it and the fingerprints you get on it, it just doesn't look like the Batmobile as it appears in the movie. So again, minor disappointment. In terms of functionality, you know, the wheels, they're plastic, they're not really rubbery. Oh, they're a little bit rubbery, but fairly hard plastic. They spin well. The weight is lighter than you would think, but still quite heavy. It doesn't feel terribly cheap, but it doesn't feel sort of staggeringly premium either. You know, it feels about right for what you pay, in my opinion. The guns here are non-functional. They don't flip up. I'm not surprised given the Warner Brothers no gun mandate. And to be honest with you, the fact that the 1989 Batman used guns on his Batmobile was always a little bit discordant to me and unfaithful to the character. Not my favourite part of the Burton Batman, so I don't really care. In terms of the cockpit, you push this button and this slides forward. It's an extremely flimsy mechanism, so you want to be gentle with this, or I can just imagine it snapping off. And hello, there is the trading card. I almost forgot about it. You can pause if you want to read all about the Batmobile. So yeah, locking that back in. Unfortunately, I do not have my Michael Keaton Batman. It's coming. I'm going to pick it up soon, but I can't actually show you the Batmobile with Keaton Batman inside. So instead, I've brought in Dick. Say hi, Dick. Hello. I would put another Batman figure in here, but all the Batman figures in this line that I have hard plastic capes. And of course, you can't pose them in the seat with a hard plastic cape. So there's your look at the interior. It's actually reasonably well detailed. There's some nice silver paint applied to some of the dials and knobs. It is a single-seater. I don't mind that. I think if this actually was a two-seater, it would just be like ridiculously enormous and prohibitively enormous. This feels, you know, scale-wise, quite appropriate. Like it's not too bad. Just imagine that this is Michael Keaton Batman and not Nightwing. You know, to actually make it so that two figures could sit inside it, I get why they didn't, and I can live with that. Let's see how easy it is to get Dick in this hole. Okay, that sounds terrible. I apologize. Let's see if we can get Nightwing in this cockpit quite easily. He's actually a more slender figure, so I'm not surprised. You're just going to have to take my word for it that Michael Keaton Batman fits. I can't test it myself, but you know, I've seen it in other videos. He does. His ears sort of protrude up here, but you can do it. and this kind of just locks back in nicely. And there you can see Dick taking Bruce's car for a ride. Yeah, so like, works quite well. It's neat. Do I really need to be able to see him inside? Does that justify this clear plastic and the discoloration of the canopy? I don't think so. And also, you'll note, I mean, this has sort of been described to death, but the shape of the canopy here, it sort of bulges upward, and it's not as low down as it should be, sleek as it should be, and they've done that to accommodate a figure. Is it worth it? Yeah, probably. Could they have done it better? Yeah, I think they could have. Did it really need to slope up this high? Like, it could have been high up here and then tapered down there, and it would have looked much better. Just a weird design choice. Again, you know, just everything to do with that canopy is just a little bit weird. Now, what I wanted to do just quickly is a little comparison with the other 1989 Batmobile that I have to hand. And that is the Jada Toys 1/24th scale die-cast metal 1989 Batmobile. You'll see that one actually doesn't have translucent plastic for its headlights as well. But it's really interesting to compare them side by side. Obviously, the McFarlane DC Multiverse Batmobile totally dwarfs this one in scale. It's about double the price that I paid for this. This was about 50 Australian dollars. This I paid at Fett's Hideout, you know, double that basically. You know, so you kind of get what you pay for, but in many ways, I mean, this is the superior item in a lot of ways. It's a different kettle of fish. This is more of a collectible than a toy. You know, this one has the guns that flip, you know, which is kind of neat. This one has a sliding canopy also, and it's a two-seater. Of course, there's no figures to go in. The interior is very detailed. And you'll see in terms of proportions, this has just got that sleeker profile. I mean, compare these. One is way more faithful. The Jada Toys totally nails it. You know, this is probably still the best display Batmobile that I have. You know, I think in terms of the 1989 Batmobile, that is, you know, this is the one that I would buy, like all being equal. I have $50 or $100, you know, which one am I going to buy? I'm going to buy this one for $50. I think it's just so premium, and this thing weighs a ton. It's metal, mostly metal. It just feels great. But yeah, you know, having said that, there's room in my collection for both. This is great to pose with figures, to have the Keaton Batman sitting in there or standing in the cockpit or standing next to it. I think that's really awesome. It definitely has a place. I'm really glad I bought it. I think it is worth a buy if you have any affection for the 1989 Batman. But you know, it's a toy, and you need to approach it as a toy rather than like a collectible or a display piece, because it doesn't quite, it's just not quite premium enough to hit the mark. And I'd say overall, it's a minor disappointment. You know, it's decent for the price. I'm really glad I have it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to admire it. I'm going to look at it. It's a good representation, a decent representation of the source material, but it's not as good as it could have been or should have been, with just a few small tweaks, you know, like just a more premium matte finish, a properly proportioned canopy that's the right color, a little bit of translucent plastic. You might have added $30 to the price, maybe $50. I think it would have been worth it. I genuinely think if this was just a bit more expensive and a bit more premium feeling and looking, everyone would be a little bit more hot on it, including me. As it is, pretty awesome. I may customize this if I'm feeling really brave one day, but not in the near term. For now, I think I'll just leave it as it is. I'll look at it. I'll see how much I can get used to that canopy. And as I look at it, it's really not that bad in the right light and in person, right? You know, yeah, this is cool. I would say if you're a fan, buy it, you know, but just know what you're getting. Another thing just to note, actually, while I've just noticed it, you can see here, just near my thumb, there's actually a slight indentation in the mold, like a slight defect. You can see it there. And I've actually seen this in other reviews. I think this is a common defect, and it actually really annoys me because it's highly visible in the right light. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. But you know, again, it was $100, so I'm not going to complain too loudly. If this has come across as overly negative, I apologize. I actually really do like this. It's just a frustrating piece because it could have been better. It just could have been better. Anyway, I've rambled on for way too long. DC Multiverse 1989, Flash Batmobile, pretty cool. Let me know in the comments if you're going to pick this one up. Let me know if you're going to customize it, and if you've got any good tips for customizing or tutorials, point me to those. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, please. I'm going to try and get more content out as more figures start hitting the shelves here in Australia. It's been slow going. I might do an update to this when I get my Keaton Batman. But for now, that's all. Thanks so much. Bye.